What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 33 of the Block Exploring podcast. With me here is Tommy, as always. And in this episode, we're going to talk to you about everything relevant to the Bitcoin Taproot update and the future of DeFi. Now, of course, this is not financial advice, as always. And let's get on with the episode. Now, the state of the market. I think the overall week was fairly neutral for crypto. There was a lot of gains made early on in the week, but then overall reversal in direction halfway through the week, which has been corrected now over the weekend. Bitcoin reversed direction from 69,000 US dollars, and it dropped down to 62,000 US dollars, which was the 20-day exponential moving average. And a lot of technical analysts are saying that Bitcoin is due to hit 90K due to this Taproot update and the pullback that happened. That it shows that the fact that it fell back to this moving average, that there's a lot of buy support and a lot of functionality added, which then overall makes it a very bullish case. Ether or ETH turned down from 4.8K and has been declining for the last while because the support line was declined. BNB, kind of just dropped overall. It dropped from 600 to 500, and Cardano also has been plunging. And out of all the projects, Solana has had the biggest kickback, the largest buy support that we've seen. Out of kind of the top 5 cryptocurrencies, it fell down quite a bit, but there was quite a bullish buyback. So that was overall the kind of state of the market this past week. A lot of small dips, but also a lot of buy support.
Yeah, like it's a
So
healthy correction.
exactly, and it was very much due as well because
Exactly.
you know a lot of the larger players in the crypto space were saying, "Hey, man, this is a very bullish time, very greedy time. There is bound to be a winter. Not that this was anywhere near a winter, but
Yeah,
you know, it's a vibe check
it is.
for the
Yeah, yeah.
crypto space.
But it's just a necessary thing, to have these pullbacks because you can't be in price discovery forever and you can't be going vertical forever. It's just you know, I mean, the psychology of people trading and
Hmm.
doing things is just at some point, people take profits. At some point, people themselves just think it's the top and they're gonna that snowballs, right? That snowballs, and that's why we see things like pullbacks and that. So but again, that's depending on how you feel about the market. That's either that's another opportunity in itself, these
Yeah,
healthy pullbacks, or what I would describe as a healthy pullback.
yeah, exactly, and it makes a lot of sense as well. Just
Hmm.
yeah, there was a lot of price discovery, but now it's kind of time to correct and find the more relevant price. And I think well, overall, there is still a very bullish sentiment. The dip was like, well, Bitcoin dipped back to like price levels of 4 days ago. It's usually that the kind of like dip sentiment that people have. But if you just look at the bigger scale of things, it wasn't that bad.
No.
Um, but I think it's especially relevant right now to discuss the Taproot, and I think it makes a very bullish case for Bitcoin. A while back on the episode, Tommy, you and I actually talked about privacy features in cryptocurrency, and I made a case for it why I find it's important and a bit overlooked. So I'm pretty happy to see this Taproot kind of come to fruition
Hmm.
because the Taproot, well, it's a super important update. It's the biggest update to Bitcoin since 2017.
Yeah.
And well, for this Taproot update, it's actually 3 Bitcoin improvement proposals. Bitcoin improvement proposal 340 to 342. And what it basically does is it allows for higher smart contract applicability or functionality. It allows for complex transactions, and it creates more private transactions with higher security. So overall very bullish for Bitcoin, and this is exactly what I was talking about, like in line with privacy. what the Taproot kind of does is allow you to combine a few public keys into a new public key and combine the signatures into a new signature, and that's called a Schnorr signature. And this allows for much higher privacy than before because it's unclear to like the outside world which one of the three signatures is the original signature or the relevant signature. And that's a very crude way of explaining it. But I think that this privacy benefit is exactly what I talked about a few episodes ago, uh, where I used the Mona Lisa as kind of an example. It's like everyone likes the Mona Lisa, and the Mona Lisa would have been a lot safer if no one knew exactly where it was, you know? So I think it's overall very bullish. Edward Snowden isn't for this proposal, but, you
Yeah.
know, it
It's
is what it is.
yeah, and he famously doesn't even have a computer or laptop. I think he said before, or he doesn't connect to Wi-Fi. Is that what it
Yeah,
is? He's
I think
famously,
so.
privacy maximalist. But I feel like what's interesting is, I mean, it's gone live, and I just haven't been
Hmm.
able to look at its implementation and how
Hmm.
really it's going to take some time for us to really understand the ramifications and for people to really make use of like this Taproot update. But I think this is overall incredibly bullish for Bitcoin because in general, Bitcoin. Um, Heavy Bitcoiners have been very adverse to any types of changes to the original what is outlined in the Bitcoin white paper, Satoshi Nakamoto's you know what he put down. People just take it as law, but
Yeah.
so oftentimes there's not much to speak about in terms of Bitcoin development. There's obviously Lightning Network, but now Taproot is a significant thing that has been in the works for a long time, and now it's come about, and
Hmm.
you know we can talk about something Bitcoin related that's just not price, which is cool, right?
Yeah.
Because yeah, I mean, I just want to. I'm curious to see where this takes us, but specifically, I want to go back to like implementation, right? Because
Yeah.
when we talked about this on the episode, it was like 2 weeks now or something like that, right? Three
Yeah.
weeks. You were talking about how this increased privacy measures or mechanisms and that might be
Hmm.
what crypto or blockchain needs to have its like iPhone moment. Is that how we described it at the time? iPhone
Yeah. Yeah.
moment,
Yeah. The
right?
iPhone
So
moment,
well, yeah,
indeed.
so this ability, I think it's very cool that they have this ability to opt in, opt out of this
Yeah.
Taproot upgrade, but its implementation and how easy is that for the everyday person to make use of
Hmm.
these privacy functions is going to be huge, obviously. And if we think that this is going to be um, a big thing in the way of people of coming into crypto in a bigger way, right?
Yeah.
Whether security and privacy have been a hindrance to begin with, right?
Yeah. And I think that's one of the main critiques that you kind of see a lot of people have on Bitcoin, or at least I feel like the maybe the older generation has this as a more prevalent critique is like, oh, there's just a lack of privacy. Everything is visible. Every transaction is fully visible to everyone, and that scares some of the people. And this kind of pay to taproot thing, I think, is kind of a step towards maybe just mitigating those concerns.
Hmm. Yeah, but it's interesting because like that was the point. It is the point. It was the point. Like that every transaction should be publicly visible. Like that was the point by design and construction. But
Hmm.
that's what's great about this. But I mean about having this opt in opt out feature is that you have the choice. Then what I'm saying, because like
Yeah.
although because if you yeah to have this increased security, if that's I mean
Hmm.
I don't think it's increased security rather than increased privacy, because the security of that Bitcoin network already has through its innate its use of cryptographic technology. The security was already there. It's
Oh
and the
yeah.
concern was about visibility and
Yeah.
the transparency, which again was by design and construction. But if you want that privacy, then Taproot
Hmm.
is there, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think that there are some security updates, but it's more like there's kind of like a discussion. I can't tell you the very technical
Sure.
details of this.
Right.
I just studied law, right? But I just know that there's two things. There's ECDSA signatures, which Bitcoin has been using for a very long time,
Right.
and Schnorr signatures have been considered more secure. So this move towards Schnorr signatures has just kind of increased the, well, yeah, on a theoretical level, a higher degree of security. But I think that overall, that this links very closely to the iPhone moment that we've been talking about,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like this is just a higher degree of privacy, security, but then again, utility has also significantly increased
Mm-hmm.
due to this kind of application of smart contracts and
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, accessibility to more digital cash aspects of Bitcoin. I think that this really closely relates towards the DeFi boom that we've been seeing for the past while,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's just a higher degree of well, operability on the Bitcoin network. And I think maybe a decent question to ask, also since transaction fees have been reduced or are being aimed to be reduced with this proposal, will we start seeing DeFi functionality on the Bitcoin blockchain?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about this?
I think we've seen already like a lot of projects working towards that, right?
Hmm.
Like projects like Stacks, even other projects that are building along, making use of the Lightning Network to
Hmm.
enable, more DeFi esque, services on top of the Bitcoin network. And I think this Taproot's really gonna accelerate that, right? Because that's what half of what it seeks to enable. And
Hmm.
a lot of people are Bitcoin maxis, right? And they
Yeah.
want to just operate on the Bitcoin blockchain, and yeah, so now they might be able to gain access to all these cool, DeFi, projects and services that have been available on the Ethereum network for years, years now, you know.
Yeah.
But that I think that'll be cool to see what kind of things are happening on the Bitcoin network for those who are adamant about using it solely for that, and
Exactly.
what.
And I think this closely relates to that graph that we discussed a
Mhm,
while back about DeFi. Like it's a 230 billion in ongoing value
mhm,
supply, and that does not compare in any way to the overall kind of size of the. I think it's like what, like 6 trillion or something.
mhm.
The overall value of uh, the asset market, right? Like so,
Right.
like just
Yeah. Yeah.
like traditional financial services market.
Mhm,
And I think indeed the link that you're making here towards what is already going on the Ethereum network, like increasing and moving that also towards the Bitcoin network might be also a move towards that interoperability that a lot of people are looking for, and I think that just like what was the project that you told me about right before this
Index co-op. Index
yeah,
co-op.
I think that that's like a crypto index investment platform,
Yeah,
right? And
exactly.
I think that kind of allows also for a lot of people who are maybe more, well, let's say they have a more abstract interest in the
Hmm.
crypto space as an investment good. I think that will draw them in as well. And a lot of people are index investors because
Exactly. Yeah.
overall it's been like coined one of the most like stable ways to invest. It's not the most interesting way, but it is a stable way to kind of keep up with inflation.
Hmm.
I'll do that in the crypto space, and the value that gets added every day is, well, not financial advice, but it seems to be much higher than you see in traditional financial services.
Hmm. But also, like, if you're into the crypto and blockchain space already and interested in these different narratives, but
Hmm.
you don't want to invest in individual products and just get exposure to the narrative as a whole, like if you're bullish on DeFi or bullish on the metaverse, this is a great way of smoothing out your risk and putting your eggs in multiple baskets as opposed
Exactly.
to just one. And that's, for example, now on Index Co-op they have like a DeFi Pulse Index which tracks the overall market trend of DeFi. There's a
Hmm.
Metaverse Index which is a collection of different metaverse related projects, and there's also the bankless bet index, which gives you exposure to 1/3 ETH, 1/3 Bitcoin, and 1/3 Bitcoin DeFi Pulse Index, which I think is really good
Mm-hmm.
index. But no financial advice. But why we talk about this project, because it's emblematic of what's possible. When with smart contracts and DeFi and
Mm-hmm.
all that goodness. There's so many cool financial services that people can make use of now. Whether it's collateralizing crypto and taking loans and all these things. You can be your own bank with
Yeah.
DeFi now, and you don't have to ask anybody for anything, right? Like, and I think that's incredibly amazing that genuinely with blockchain technology, we are moving towards people really being able to live bankless lives, people being able to be sovereign over their assets in a much bigger way and do so many more cool interesting things. Like right now, like if people are trying to get interest rates on their in on their money, they're probably just putting it in the bank, in which case the bank is making all the money because they're doing all the cool stuff and making the
Yeah.
real money, which is stuff we can do right now with DeFi. Or you're investing in the stock market, investing in other ways, right? But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, DeFi really does enable a lot financially, and
Yeah.
that on Bitcoin, I think is just like, I mean, what's interesting is that you can already use Bitcoin in DeFi.
Yeah.
You can wrap Bitcoin as wrapped. You can wrap Bitcoin and use it on the Ethereum network, and
Yeah.
use different DeFi products. But yeah, to have native DeFi on Bitcoin is going to be really really interesting, and especially I think coupled with Lightning Network, yeah, it'll be interesting to see stuff like NFTs on the Bitcoin network. But
Yeah.
we'll just see how that evolves, because I think this is not only polarizing in the, I mean, obviously, it's not polarizing in terms of adoption, because like how many nodes adopted it? Like 90 plus, right? 90 plus
90%
percent
those.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's in terms of that, but I think in terms of Bitcoin hodlers and thought thought leaders, or the Bitcoin space, this is like a debated thing.
Yeah.
So it's
No,
be
absolutely.
interesting how it's being adopted, how different projects build upon it, and where they go from there.
True. And I think, especially, we talk about interoperability and stuff. I think you can see this kind of indexing of asset classes as also maybe a very watered down light version of interoperability, right? You buy the bankless
Mm-hmm.
index and you kind of get a combo wombo of Ethereum and Bitcoin,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And DeFi Pulse Index, that's very good.
And DeFi. Yeah. So overall, I think that this kind of move
Mm-hmm.
towards DeFi and this boom towards DeFi will also open up a lot of windows towards this interoperability and this need for interoperability. So I think with that said, let us know in the
Mm-hmm.
comments what you thought about this, and will we see more functional DeFi projects launch on the Bitcoin network? Let us know. So tune in next week or next episode for another episode of the Block Exploring podcast, and take it easy.
Take it easy.